All right, welcome back to Relatively Speaking 2020. My name's Rosemary. I'm going to be doing a collective read, and I was putting dates on them. I'm not going to put a date on it because time in and itself is an illusion. It is a structure that mankind makes in order to measure and understand their relative nature in a matrixing system. Whereas the illusion of it is, again, breaking through the boxes. So when this message is come across, it will be a timeless message. It will be relevant to the persons or people that are receiving the message at the time that they are receiving it and the layer and perspective that they're in. So I'm going to actually be doing two different layers here, or two different timelines in a way, or at least there is one timeline, but two different perspectives on that timeline. As we are going back and forth and traversing through our shadow side, our emotional side, and that which is our light side, our logical side in a way. So this message will have two rows and we'll have a bridging in between. I am using a Gilded Reverie deck, which they do not make the guidebook for anymore, so I am going to be completely intuitive on it. And I'm going to do two different cards again. Here's one. This will be more for the emotional side, the side on the left here, which will be at the right end of our screen. It is right side up that popped out. This is 14, which is 5, so a change in the way that we think of our cleverness. Again, this is also the fox, right? Fox leaving the hen house in a way. And the fox even looking back. Now, a fox is very clever, but also very smart, very cunning, right? Very intuitive in a way, because the way that they navigate in this world is an opportunistic type person. So it's also the 9 of clubs on here, which would be your 9 of wands. And that is more of this kind of ending type mentality in a 9 of wands card. In your home and domestic. It's an ending but a completion in a way. So it can completion in the way that we think, right? A very, again, very opportunistic kind of thinking. This is more for, again, the emotional layer, the shadow side that we go through introspective wise. The other card that popped out is 26. It is a book with a lock and key, and it is the 10 of diamonds, which is our 10 of coins, which is talking about our abundance. Now, we have and do write our own books, right? And right now, it being a book that is in a way kind of lock and key, right? It's got its own combination lock. It's a specific combination. This is more for the people that are, again, more on the intuitive side of things. And I say intuitive wise, more on the light side, or I say the 3D side of things, right? What is in the light, what is brought into 3D, what we see. So this is 26, this is also 8. And it is, again, 8 is more of a divine number, the infinity number, right? What we bring in a way, I have in space, what we bring into our 3D world. So this 10 of coins is saying that a lot of people are actually working on unlocking combination, which again is a certain set of parameters met in a 3D space, a certain order of operation to actually achieve that 10 of coins, which again is that abundance both in financial, but also abundance of the heart. So I'm going to start with this path on here, and I'm actually going to go with the Akashic Tarot, and we're going to go down the middle, or the, either side, and then I'm going to bridge in the middle with the Elemental Tarot deck, which is going to show us the emotions around and surrounding this situation. And again, this is a path timeline that is reflective in nature. So as we are in more of the light, the 3D, again, what we are manifesting in a 3D space, and what we are feeling in an emotional side, in the spiritual side, in our shadow in a way, and what we're healing through, they reflect each other. So with one move on either side, it actually reflects and refracts into the other side. It is good to actually reflect on both sides of this, because then you get a good perspective on your own journey and your own self. So let's see what we pop out with. It is actually a really good, again, to see how the spiritual side of ourselves, our intuitive side, our emotional side, and again, it is very imperative that we actually are in control of our emotions and not having our ego control us in a way. Ego as emotions go out of control, right? So this is teaching us again how we control our emotions and our reactions, actions to a situation. So I'm going to actually cut the deck and I'm going to draw. So, all right, so I have the will, wisdom, and the mind here. This is a classic trinity in a way, but it's also 20 on here, which is showing the duality. It's 2. 2 is 0. 2 plus 0 is 0. Is 2. I'm sorry. And we have this will, wisdom, and mind. So you have the will, which is more, again, your spiritual will, right? Your wisdom, which is the knowledge you obtain, your logical side, and your mind, which is, again, what you're working through, your computer, basically, in a way. So as I was saying, this opportunistic side, this completion with your home domestic, your setting your, even your, in a spiritual sense, 9 of Wands type mentality, again, this in a way carrying it, right? Carrying all of this intellect in a way with you, but also the opportunities with you and not neglecting the opportunities that are coming to you. So as we go through this particular paradigm in our shadow and our emotional self, we also have the will, the wisdom, and the mind, right? So we have our will to continue forward. And again, they're all balanced, particularly on here. And this symbol that's on here is the Isle of Man. So again, as we have our man, right? Mind, body, and soul, right? So this is in a way, a Trinity, but it's also, in a way, 4, right? It is our quad for the way our brain, in a way, works, but also our reality. So it's also, 2, showing the duality in our own situations. And that looking at through the light and the dark, okay, left and right, forward, backwards, up and down, in certain directional patterns. So it's also saying to look at our patterns, but it's saying that we also have the will, the wisdom, and mind to continue on this particular path. And don't doubt yourself and your abilities, because once you doubt yourself, once you give in, even if you give in to, again, doubting your own wisdom, that what you gained, right? Wisdom is gained through experience, and experience is, as much as people think, mistakes, right? A lot of people don't have the willpower to keep putting themselves out there because they're afraid to make a mistake and have a failure. But failures are our greatest teacher as well, because it teaches us what does not work. It doesn't mean to stop, though, either. Now, if there's a point in which we are rejected or rejection occurs, rejection is often a way to redirect us to something that we should be learning, or something that we're not looking at, the opportunity that we may not be seeing. I'm going to draw for the other side to see the reflection. We have the 6 of Scrolls, which is the sands of time. So again, as I was just talking about how time is an illusion in the beginning of this video, 6 of Scrolls is talking about the balance in our time, right? And how the hourglass is actually flowing in our direction right now for this particular order of operation that we are putting together. Again, as you play in a way a game, certain times there's certain order of moves that should be made in order for other moves to be executed. Such as if you're moving a chess piece on a board, if your knight is in the way of a pawn and you need to move your pawn, you are going to wait until you have the move to clear your knight in order for your pawn to move. So again, you're looking at the order of operation. Now, the 6 of Scrolls normally they represent, in this deck, they represent what we're writing into existence. 6 being a balanced number, again, 3 above, 3 below, 3 to the left, 3 to the right, okay, however you just choose to utilize that. But 6 is a very balanced number in this particular paradigm. Again, this person is actually writing, and they do have scrolls, and they're kind of looking at the time. So instead of focusing just on the time that we are getting, it's more of what are we structuring in our day to get the most effective and efficient work done. So it does reflect our will, wisdom, and mind, all right? Because, again, they're not actually, these two sides are not actually separate paths. They're actually occurring at the same time, and they're occurring within us. And they're also, some people may be traversing more on one side than the other, and they may not be seeing the other side, but you are feeling the effects, both in your 3D and your spiritual side. So I'm going to draw the next. We have 1 of Forces for the Akashic field here. And I'm going to do this in a past, present, future kind of thing, but also and I say past, present, future, this is also something that happens in the now. So what's affecting is our Akashic field, the 1 of Forces on this side. So the memories that are filtering in. I also want to say that there's a lot of solar activity, and so the Akashic field, this is literally showing the aurora going on, but all these particles that are coming in. So the one of forces is talking about a new beginning in our Akashic field, a new beginning in our, again, the cosmic radiation that is coming in our memories, in our story that is being written in a way. So the Akashic field is available for us, again, in this opportunistic type mode, in this particular paradigm where we're looking at our mind, body, soul, right? And the balance there in between. This is talking about the memory and not getting caught up in the memory, but to make something new of yourself, right? A lot of people get caught in the past, and that causes depression, and they cause cycles that we are going through of trauma or drama. And then what happens is as we look towards the future as an expectation, we actually start to begin to worry and have anxiety, especially if we're focusing completely on time, if we're focusing on our 3D space. So again, we have 5 of scrolls. We have the diversity, again, the changing up. 5 of scrolls, right? The change in it, the change in the guard in a way. So we have this new beginning happening both in an emotional layer, in our Akashic field, in our opportunistic sides, in our spiritual side, the side that's unseen. And we also have this change in the way that it's being written. Again, the change in the time, right? The sands of time. The hourglass is always shifting. It's not stuck on one particular place. The sands are going through. And one of the greatest lines that I had, that was channeled that came through was how now, every now is a string of nows. It's like a string of pearls going through an hourglass. So they're not, this now is now gone, and that now is now gone now too, right? So as we're going through, this is talking about diversifying, but also diversifying even in our studies. This woman is, she's actually studying. She's looking at different aspects of herself. She's looking at different aspects again. We're talking about the Akashic field, right? New memories, building new memories. We're talking about building new paradigm in this way. So as we traverse and we're going back and forth, you see how the cause and effect of our own emotions and our own ego, our own wants and desires can affect other areas of our life, and even other people if we're trying to exert control on it. Now, one of the biggest things that I can say that was a very good learning experience is to let go of any expectations. A lot of us see visions of things, again, that we hold it in us. We know it's there. So give that vision up to spirit. Give it up to source. If it's truly ours, it'll come back, right? And so this way we're not attached to something so tight that it doesn't have the chance to grow. It's like being confined in a box. So this is also talking about diversifying even our knowledge right now, having a new teacher, even in a way, a new subject. Don't feel bad to kind of dive right into the full aspect of this school of life that we are in. Okay, so the last one for this, and I'm going to go through the motion. We have the Queen of Forces right now. She is, again, in this particular thing, she's upside down, meaning that sometimes we're not in control of our emotions. We're not in balance, and that's okay. Again, it's everybody's path is valid. Everybody's experiences are valid. It means that sometimes what we're being, again, forces right now, we're being affected by both the sun and moon energy coming in. And being in this balanced state that she's in, again, this card came in reverse, even though it's upright on the screen. This balance, and this is more of a feminine energy as the Queen of Forces, right? She's talking about the night and day. She's talking about, again, holding the energy. She's on water. She's talking about emotions. So this particular paradigm is talking about our emotional layer as we're going through, and also the divine feminine, the way our feminine energy is coming in. Now, normally tarot does not have a masculine, feminine side. You, again, being full spectrum entity or being, and I say that as a spirit, as a soul, full spectrum, we can often go back and forth in between and be very fluid. We can be fluid between our masculine and feminine sides. So this is talking about the intuitive side of things, right? And that, again, we are being guided in a way, and it may seem unbalanced. Again, it's to remind us to keep this balance. It's to remind us to understand the forces coming in, the memories coming in. There are ways for us to heal our traumas, to actually introspect, reflect, and look at ourselves, reflection in the water. And so how it affects our 3D space is we have the King of Keys. This is funny, we have a King and a Queen right now. So we have the King of Keys, we have this unlock. This is more, again, a King of Keys if you want to go to the masculine side of things, but we see, right? This is talking about healing our root chakra. He's on a horse with a red drape on him, right? A red drape on the horse. And he's actually, in a way, looking at the land. He's looking at how it's, again, and we're talking about balance between spiritual and land itself. So now we're going to go to how Gaia, the spiritual side, as we progress in our spiritual side and our opportunities in our spirit side, how Gaia itself, the land here, actually starts, and this is what people are seeing with climate change, it actually starts to regress in a way, and I say that not in a bad way, back to being more balanced. We balance each other as we are symbiotically related to Gaia, to Earth we walk on. So as we progress in a spiritual sense and go back to our true human form, true man form, right? Gaia, Earth itself, go back to that Eden space. So a lot of the climate change we're seeing is, again, we try to structure and build parking lots. And I believe there's a song like that, to tear down paradise and build a parking lot, right? It's talking about unlocking the balancing in between right now, and how this particular kingdom, the key to the kingdom in a way, and even the king, right? Even the masculine energy, what we see in the logical side being built in the 3D world, is starting, Gaia is starting to balance herself in a way. She's starting to, again, we're starting to get all of this activity come in. And what we're seeing as this, in a way, climate change is a lot of time perpetuating, it's being perpetuated by programming. What you watch in a program, right? In a news program, in a television program. So unsubscribe from the channel if you do not like to experience or be programmed. It's, in a way, we are deprogramming ourselves to reprogram ourselves in a way that is most conducive to freedom, to true liberation of both the soul and also the 3D space. And again, we go back and forth between them. So these are directly related, again, with, again, the masculine and feminines are both on both sides and both person, again, and we talk twin flame. Twin flame also happens within us first. So we are bringing our masculine and feminine energies in space, in place, in balance, in with the diversity, the divine timing and such. And what we're doing is we're doing that unlock, that order of operation in the way that we are traveling our own individual paths. So we are healing our root chakra, our survivor mode. And that is happening even in a divine masculine sense. Is a lot of masculines, and I say this, a lot of masculines in the 3D world, they are, in a way, still looking into a survival mode, into stability, and that is not a bad thing either, again. And a lot of the feminines are still dealing with an emotional layer. These are both important for healing, so that the king and queen can come together, in a sense, both inside of us, right? The keys, the unlock, the forces within. The forces also reflect without, so that the keys unlock on the outside as well. So that this can actually be a balanced relation between the feminine and the masculine, even in a 3D sense, in a 3D body sense. Okay, so I'm going to go down the middle and show the energies and how they bridge. And I'm going to end the card today with the sacred power cards. And that will be the final message coming through. All right. Okay, so I have working on the outer core. This is 12, which is 3. Again, a 3D space. So the feminine, the fluidity, right? The outer core. And we're just talking about the fluid, right? The water. So this is water in a way. And it's still in a divine feminine sense. It's talking about also, I want to take a look at this, is standing in her own power here. It's kind of like the look of Venus as she steps out, and I believe in that famous painting, she's stepping out of the clamshell in a way, right? She is standing in her feminine power as a true feminine, a true divine feminine. But also the fluidity, again, it's funny how these cards both look very similar, right? The outer core, the 3D world. So as the internal work is being done, and that is through our emotional layer, what happens is we have the fluid side of this, that is, and I say I was going to make a bridge, but again, this is the fluid side. Let me go through the middle again here. This is happening both on the divine feminine side, but also on the masculine side in a way. So we have this, again, 3D, 12. It's happening on both sides here. So even though I placed it on this side, I know I was going to go down the middle here. Again, this does happen and reflect on both sides here. We have again, the fluidity from the inner side coming out on the outer side, right? As within, so without. So this is happening also in a 3D world. This is also bringing the divine feminine back into this world, a feminine touch in a way. And it's becoming in balance with the 3D in the masculine sense. Okay, so I have purity of the ice. Now, the card did come up upside down, and this is 33, which is a master number. We do not break down this number whatsoever. This is also talking about balance. And as the card is flipped upside down, the purity in the ice, it's almost as if, again, a lot of us are still going through this, in a way, hermit cocoon stage. But it is still very freeing. We have this freeing energy here. 33 is the number of the 33 vertebrae, which is that when the Kundalini is activated, the energy within us is activated. It travels up the 33 vertebrae. It is therefore then sacrificed at the third eye pineal gland, and the secretion that is secreted is the land of milk and honey. So a lot of what we see as biblical references are actually allegorical and also metaphorical in a way to define or describe a way that we are actually coming into enlightenment. In fact, a lot of the old paradigm, even religious mythologies, are actually describing an event that has already happened, because all time is playing out now. It is still happening in the process now because we are all existing in the now. And it is also something that is, again, going to happen. It is our potential that we are bringing in as we travel this timeline. So this is talking about having that purity, the ice, right? To take the time for us, even though we have the fluidity in the outer core, to take the time to introspect. It is okay to take the pause. The pause in a symphony is just as important as when the instruments are playing. So I have 23, which is 5. So we have this cleansing storm, and this comes in. This 23, this 5, this change, right? The change, the cleansing. This is helping us to cleanse our energy, to balance our energy, but also, again, the opportunity as it's being held in the hand, right? It's growth. Storms come through to help clear the way for growth, for new growth, right? To actually have grass growing, to have this. It's not something so much as destructive, but also destruction also is a way to create. In order for new things to come in, so a lot of times old things must be, and I say destroyed, but transformed, transmuted into something better, right? The caterpillar goes inside of a cocoon and actually transforms into a butterfly. When fire goes through and like wildfire, bushfires come through, what happens is you get this is why a lot of farmers do slash and burn techniques. You'll get new growth, new soil, freshness come in. It burns out any old parasites. So even a parasite cleanse. So to get rid of anything that is causing us to, again, not have this introspect, to be stagnant. This is talking about to actually cleanse and have yourself a cleansing ritual. Whether it is to go outside every day and stand in the rain, whether it is to go outside and go for a ride, go for a bike ride, talk to a person, whether that is to sit again and put on incense, meditate, whatever it is that is helping you to cleanse your auric field, your force field, right, to bring the balance back in. So I'm going to end this particular one with a closing message and this will be for the overall, with whichever side that we are traversing. And a lot of us are going back and forth because, again, full spectrum, we see all angles, all perspectives, all sides. We are able to be full spectrum light, meaning that we're not just the color purple or the color green on any given time. We can be and traverse fluid through those colors, but we are not what that particular color defined. We are not just green. We are not just yellow. We are not just purple. We are all colors of the rainbow, which creates pure white light. It's just fractured down in a prism, and that way you can see that light and the colors that it has with our own 3D eye. Eye that also could be I, right? The I that I am. Okay, so I have source. I have the source here. Again, this is talking about bringing us closer to source. We are each individually a fraction, a fractal of source. We are each a puzzle piece of source. but we are also source in ourselves. We are responsible for creating our 3D world. We are responsible for our actions and our manifestations, our words, and we are responsible for what experience that we would like to experience in this particular stage of the game, in the matrixing system itself. What we focus on, we manifest. What we sit in, what emotion goes out, is what is brought back into us. It is what the universe responds back to us, what source, our higher self, brings back in. So surrender fear with the power of prayer. Miracles can happen. So again, creating your own ritual, like I was saying, again, your own meditative cleansing. So it is number 32 in this deck, even though it's on page 32, which again is 5. So the change here. So from the light of God that I am, I clear and open the way for divine miracles. I surrender my heart to 100% pure light consciousness. I embrace divine will through love and faith. So as source of comfort and hope, prayerful thoughts strengthen your faith in life and divine consciousness. Life isn't always happiness and joy. Experiencing sadness and sorrow is a part of life. Turning to prayer during times of trouble and darkness opens pathways for the divine will to act on your behalf. The power of prayer can be accessed by anyone, anywhere, at any time. When positive energy exists within and around us, it helps us balance any physical or mental condition. Again, as we were going back and forth, the physical and the mental. Divine Source speaks to us through prayer when we truly surrender our fear and open our heart to pure love. Again, love is one of the highest vibrations, bliss, that we can actually embody, that will come back to us. Fear is one of the lowest ones. It's part of the root chakra that is the survival mode, and that also will bounce back to us. So people tend to turn prayer only in times of trouble. In fact, they should offer prayer even in good times to show gratitude and thanks for the blessings they have received. The continued flow of divine surrender opens up to new possibilities while increasing our strength on a spiritual level. Have faith. The ascended masters in heavenly realms will respond in divine deliverance if you surrender your heart to receive. By being open to the work of miracles, you allow universal synchronicities to bless you in abundance. Prayer helps your mind and body to become one. Divine communication is strong right now. Messages from loved ones, angels, ascended masters, and divine source are brought to you now. Pay attention to thoughts, feelings, and impressions you receive during and after prayer. Invoke your spiritual power and blessing from heavenly hosts, deities, by surrendering to faith with an open-hearted routine prayer. The power of prayer is strengthened by your spiritual state. Mantras open doors for divine communication. Using a prayer or dharma wheel brings purification, again, purity, right? And value to your heart's requests. Right now, pray for the miracle you need. You are being divinely assisted. So again, this is talking about, and I say routine rituals, again, the having this time paradigm, right? The structure. Allow yourself to also flow with the fluidity of the water, because when we get into a structure, we are then defining ourselves in a box as well. This is saying that we can release your heart, release the expectation, release the desires even, because when you hold on to something so tight, it oftentimes doesn't have the room to grow. This is saying that we are being guided right now. A lot of people are being guided. A lot of people are listening to both sides, all angles of it. And when you look at this world as your teacher in your own individual observable space, and not with the personal, taking things personal or an emotional level, not just one side or the other, you begin to actually start learning and growing and progressing in a way that helps you to see this world in a little bit more wonderment, right? It becomes more aligning. You begin that inner child healing. So right now, this prayer, this gratitude, again, people say prayer for bad times. It's also asking us to pray for the good things that we're blessing us right now. So I'm going to sign off with that. And you're more than welcome to ask for personal readings. I do library soul readings where we do not do card reads, and those are booked now for the next week. I will leave the email address where you can contact me for that. Donations are also welcome. They're not a requirement. I thank you for allowing me to actually be a messenger through spirit, in which case I can draw cards and actually be the interpreter for you on a few of these things. But again, this is up to interpretation, as is a collective read. Whatever resonates with you, please take that. Whatever doesn't, you can leave for the rest. You are more than welcome to peruse through any of the soul paintings, music paintings that I do also produce. And you can contact me again through email. I am on YouTube and on Facebook at Relatively Speaking 2020. So thank you again. And I have much gratitude for anybody who is out there. If you'd like to leave a comment, please share. You can subscribe to the channel. Sharing is caring. And the more that these messages get out, the more that it helps other people to, again, become in this divine balance, the energies that are in between, right? And please feel free to contact me whenever that is suitable for you. And have a beautiful day today.